Hi, everybody. I'd like to explain a little bit of what we're going to be doing with generational trauma and what this is. The actual seminar is starting a whole different kind of direction as we move into the Lightmaster series of 2500. We're working with fifth dimensional tools primarily, and this is one of them. What we're going to be working with here is called the universal energy, which is why I have this beautiful illustration behind me. Basically, it's just a flow of energy that we don't know anything about. It makes up 68% of our universe according to our own sciences, and yet we know nothing really about it because it doesn't really sort of exist in our reality, but it has a huge effect on us. One of the ways that we do this is that we have, when we look through the universal energy, it's been called different things. It's been called the Akasha, it's been called the Akashic Records, of course. All these different aspects of things are how you can look into this. The group says all readings are actually done through this universal energy. We talked a lot about that in Lightmaster. We're now going to be bringing it to an open session with people where you can come for 2 sessions. And we're going to be focusing this on generational trauma. Generational trauma is when you're dealing with the aspects of having a trauma, but you don't actually have the trauma in your history. And what are the aspects? It can be anything from anxiety to fear to depression to a whole list of challenges that you can basically resolve as acting out this reaction to trauma in some way. What the group says about it is that you probably picked up a contract to do that, to resolve a trauma in the past that was not grounded properly. Sometimes people died, sometimes people pick it up, and you came into this family line and actually took it on as a contract. You can also change the contract. We're going to share with you how. We're going to share with you how to resolve it and send it back to where it began for resolution there. There's some fascinating things that we're going to get into. I have to tell you, for the first time in my life, I'm going to be trying to explain the concept of no time, and that's all part of the universal energy. So anyway, we'll get more into it as we get there. But the whole idea of the universal energy is how things function in the 5th dimension and how we interact with the rest of the universe around us. And we'll be focusing a lot on those tools. One of those areas, of course, is generational trauma, because without the universal energy the way it is and the way it works, generational trauma would not be possible. So we're going to explain how that works. We're going to explain what to do if you think you have it. We're going to give you lots of opportunities to work with it here in class, even though we're only going to be together for 2 days. Going to be 2 wild days. Enjoy the time, and we hope to see you there. Espavo, everyone. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm here, don't worry. It'd be funny if I missed the last broadcast, wouldn't it? I slept in. Anyway, welcome today. Welcome to the VirtualLight broadcast. I'm very honored to be bringing this to you today. This is the 25th anniversary of the VirtualLight broadcast. It's a long story behind it. I won't bother you with all the details, but this started back in 1998. And it was an interesting thing because the internet was just getting started at the time, and YouTube was just getting started. This was this crazy thing that they were trying to do. But the funny part about it was that there was a company that came up and they offered a video chat which was like a chat room, but you could actually speak and you could actually be in there and you could use only your voice or you could use a video. So for about a year, we started the VirtualLight broadcast. It was called Lightworker back then, but it was basically starting to do a channel every month and be able to do the VirtualLight broadcast, do a regular broadcast on that. Well, about a year later, they came back and said, okay, you've been getting all this for free, now we're going to charge for it. And it was a huge amount of money. So we ended up going with audio only after that point, which is what we did most of the time. And then when we moved to Las Vegas, we went to the first video broadcast. And we've been doing that for 20 years here in Las Vegas to be able to work with that. But you know, in a lot of ways, this VirtualLight broadcast has been a huge part of my life personally. My life has revolved around the VirtualLight broadcast every month for the last 25 years. We would be in some country, but we'd have to be home well in advance for the last Saturday of the month when we pulled all this stuff together and did this stuff. So we had an absolute ball with it. And I'm here to thank all of you. And many of you have watched it. Many of you have been a part of it in different ways, and I just want to thank you for all the joy that you've brought me personally in being able to do this and work with us in this way. It has been an absolute joy to be doing this. We are going to stop doing the VirtualLight broadcast. It's very bittersweet because it obviously has a place in my heart and in my life, but the reality is it's time for a change. We need to change the pace. We're going to change the way we do things. We're going to have interactions, a lot more live events. It'll be called Spiritcast. It hasn't been completely formulated yet, but you will get a monthly message from the group in that Spiritcast. And hopefully some interactions too, be able to go back and forth. But anyway, today we've got a few people that I want to share with you. We're going to do things a little bit differently. You will hear from the group, the message from the group. Meg's message will be short. We've basically brought in everybody. We couldn't bring in everybody. The reality is we've lost some of these people. They've gone off and not left forwarding email addresses and so forth, but we've had so many people over the 25 years that have been instrumental in helping us put this on. This is not just me. It wasn't just me and Barbara. It was, I started the whole thing and got it going, but the reality is we always had people behind the cameras. We always had people that were there to set up the broadcast every month. We had some really dedicated team members that showed up many times here in Las Vegas, as well as other places throughout the world. There was a time that we actually did a VirtualLight broadcast live from Holland. We were doing a seminar in Holland. It was the date of the VirtualLight broadcast. So we said, okay, we're going to bring the cameras in and just do it there. And we did. And it was amazing. So anyway, technology is changing a lot. I promise you that we're going to do some fun things together in the future. We'll keep them real for you. We'll keep them moving. And interactive, hopefully, coming up soon. So anyway, thanks for being here today. I've got a few clips to show you. You'll see my clothes change as I go through the day. So obviously, we pre-recorded most of these so that we'd have them here in time to be able to get everything together. And like I said, we weren't able to hear from everybody. We did lose some email addresses. So if we missed you, please forgive us for not acknowledging you in this way. But we had so many people, and so many people that we weren't going to show you behind the scenes, that were there to set up every month, that were really a part of the team in different ways. And we created some wonderful friendships that way too. So anyway, we do have a few to share with you. These are people that have been on the VirtualLight broadcast as presenters. So what we're going to be showing you here, let me switch over camera so we can get settled in for the day. Yes. So what we're showing you for today will be those clips and be able to share with you some of the fun things that we were able to do with the whole process of the VirtualLight broadcast and how it began. So anyway, we'll start off today. I have to put my glasses on to see who we're talking about first. Ah, yes. Okay. We did a lot of broadcasts out of Las Vegas here. We did a lot of broadcasts in hotels. We took over the La Quinta Hotel for several years. Before that, we were in various places in people's homes and everything else. The person that was there at the very beginning of the VirtualLight broadcast video was Janelle Card. And Janelle did a segment for us. She and Sandy did interviews back and forth. We actually interviewed her husband at the time. One of our first interviews ever, right here in my kitchen, basically, when we started this whole thing out. So anyway, here's Janelle. Hi, everybody. One of the people that we really wanted to bring on today is Janelle Wells, who's now her name was Janelle Card when we knew her back then. She used to do quite a bit of the interviews with Sandy and to bring people on to expose us in different ways. So I wanted to bring her back on. Hi, Janelle.
Hi, Steve. Hello, everyone.
It's so good to see you, hon. Absolutely. We had a lot of fun for a lot of years. You know, we bounced around. We did it in people's homes. We did it in your home a couple times.
We did it probably 3 or 4 times at my house,
Yeah.
but we started, correct me if I'm wrong, the very first live video broadcast was at your apartment in
Yes.
Athens. So I was there, it was you, me, and Barbara, and it was so exciting. It was like, oh my God, we're live. That was really fun. I'll never forget that.
That was fun. I was really nervous that day. We had so many technical things that could have gone wrong and everything else. And we just moved into this apartment because we couldn't find a house right away. So we moved in. We had boxes everywhere. It was absolutely amazing. Yeah,
It was
fun.
crazy, but it was fun, and
Yeah,
it was exciting. That was like history.
And of course, we did quite a few years in the La Quinta. We were there for quite a few years, actually, there. But even before that, we bounced around to some other places. It was absolutely magical. We had a
I remember the first broadcast that I did was at your house in the casita
that's
on
right.
the kitchen table, and it was with my late husband Patrick.
That's right.
That
We
was the very
interviewed
first
Patrick.
interview.
That's right.
So we did a few there, and then we moved to La Quinta, and then I remember we did probably 3 or 4 at my house. And that was fun, and then back to you built the studio at your home, which was fabulous studio. It was pretty impressive. And there you go.
It's been a
25
wild
years, really.
it's been a wild journey. Anyway, I wanted to bring you on and say hi to everybody. You made a huge effect with all of us. Thanks for being with us and for doing the work that you did. It was absolutely incredible.
Big part of my life, and love you guys so much. And
You bet.
good luck on the future endeavors. I know things are changing, and change is good. It's kind of sad to see the VirtualLight broadcast go, but
It is.
all good things must change.
It's a sad note, but at the same time, we've got so many new things coming up and so many new things taking its place. I am looking forward to the new events.
Well, it ran its course, and it was good. It was
It
great.
was
And,
good. It absolutely
Sandy
was.
did such a great job, and no, it's going to be sad to see it all go.
It was. Anyway, thanks so much, Janelle. Espavo, hun. Take care. Absolute. You may remember Jilliana Raymond. She was also a presenter here for several months here as part of the broadcast to be able to bring some wonderful things in. Really a jewel of a lady. Hope you got to know her a little bit and some of the work she's doing. But anyway, Jilliana Raymond. Hi, everybody. I'm thrilled to bring you tonight Jilliana Raymond, an incredible teacher that's been around, been doing this work for some time. She's actually specialized in a lot of work with helping people pass, helping people understand the other side of the veil. And a lot of the work that we did, she did segments on the VirtualLight broadcast for quite some time. And she even came out to Las Vegas to one of our seminars to present in person. So I'm pleased to bring you Jilliana. Jilliana, how you doing?
Oh, it's a wonderful new year coming up.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've got a lot of change coming up, but we've got opportunities. You know, that's the cool part about it. So tell us about your work. Where are you? What are you doing right now?
So yeah, I live in North Carolina currently.
Right.
I travel with a troupe of individuals who've had near-death experiences, and we're trying to educate people, taking the fear out of dying.
Oh, that's so.
And also teaching the importance of documenting your estates and assets, launching your legacies, and telling people what it is that you desire. Most importantly, I want to inform everybody that life doesn't end just because the physical life that you've experienced goes away. it continues from the other side. And we bring people through that have documentation of their experiences that are affidavits, hopefully, to help individuals not fear the process, be aware of it, but also look forward to the new beginning.
Oh, that's magical. Where do you travel to?
Right now, we're traveling through the state of North Carolina. I have been to Maryland. I'm open to travel and bring my tour group with me and our explanations. And I've written a book called Before Your Last Breath, and I also was accompanied by a workbook that allows you space to document all of the important numbers, how to contact your, lending agencies, which people neglect. And I live in an older neighborhood, so often when my neighbors leave,
Right.
suddenly, the person that has to handle their estate has no idea where all of this is cataloged or where to go for it, and they spend agonizing months trying to unravel the estate of the individual who's been left behind.
I do know. I'm quite familiar with that. That's fascinating. So you not only deal with the spiritual aspects of the whole thing, but you also deal with the practical aspects of it. Which,
Spiritual and practical, most important. We bring the affidavits from the individuals who've had encounters.
right?
Working with a wonderful young man by the name of Bubba Herrick, who travels the United States, reaching out to the athletic teams because he himself was an athlete and he died on an operating table with an obscure injury that should have been normal,
Right.
and went across to the other side, met his father, and his father said, it's time for you to go back now
Time to
because
go
you
back.
have very important work to do. And these are the kinds of affidavits that we want to deliver to individuals to bring peace to individuals that have lost someone that they've loved.
That's magical. Tell us about how people can reach you, Jilliana.
I can be reached at JillianaRaymond.com or at, that's my website, or JillianaRaymond@gmail.com. And I love the interviews, the actions, and I'm here to help as much as I can with anyone who reaches out.
That's magical. Thanks so much, and thank you so much for being such a part of the VirtualLight broadcast for the period that you did. It was really special
so
to
much
us.
fun.
That was fun, wasn't
Lots
it?
and lots of fun.
Yeah, we had a ball with this. So I've got 25 years of it, and we celebrated today. We're moving on to another piece that we'll be still doing, but at the same time, it's just very nostalgic for us to remember all this. Jilliana, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate it, and best of luck with you. I'm sure our paths will cross sooner or later somewhere along the way.
I indeed hope so.
All right,
It was
then.
lots of pleasure.
Thank you so much. I love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, we'll return you to the studio now. Thanks for being with us here. Espavo. Yeah, I told you change my clothes all the time. Anyway, thanks, Jilliana. That was awesome. Yeah, a while back we used to have in the Lightmaster group, we'd have 4 days of Lightmaster, and on the fourth day, Lightmasters were responsible for making a video of their own, doing something to present something, whether it was their favorite thing or whatever it was. It was a Lightmaster day that they would do that. And we had some very active Lightmasters, and then we started bringing them on the VirtualLight broadcast. And the Lightmasters would actually have a segment where they would come on the VirtualLight broadcast for a while. That went on for a while, and then it evolved anyway. So this next person is a very dear friend of mine. We've known each other for a very long time, and very special lady. And I'm just proud to bring you Chris, because she actually not only did that for a while, but then later she went on to produce the Good News segment. And many of you who've been watching the broadcast for a long time probably remember those Good News segments. It's not always easy finding good news on planet Earth, but she did a really good job of it every month, and she would bring us a whole interesting part about good news. So here's Chris Morris. I'm proud to bring you. And one person I'm very honored to bring you is a very dear friend of ours from way back when, quite some time ago. We were just talking about it. I think we met originally in 2006. Chris Morris has been with us in and out of the circle for quite some time, doing her own work on her own, just incredible stuff. And she actually did a segment on the VirtualLight broadcast called the Good News segment that we all look forward to every month. So I wanted to bring her in. Chris, welcome back, hon.
Hey, good to see you.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a little while, like most of us. So we've kind of drifted off in our own direction. So I wanted to reach out and kind of bring everybody back together just to say hi real quick and just bring back some of those memories. So like I said before we started here, Barb and I used to wait for this Good News segment that you did every month. It was really cool. You'd find no matter what was going on, she'd find some good news somewhere it was really a big thing. That was quite a deal, I'm sure.
It took some time. It was so good and it was fun and it gave me a reason to figure out all the technology to put it out there.
Right.
As you put this note to me, I was remembering when I started with you all with the VirtualLight magazine. Was that what it was or something like that?
Yes.
Some time ago. And I have a picture of me editing or doing something with that. And I have my kids hanging on me like monkeys. Now they're in their mid to upper 20s, right? But yes, it's been a little while. But yes, and good news, I still do like little smidgens of that on my Instagram. But that was a lot to put the videos together.
No, it was a big deal. Yeah, it was a lot of work.
We needed it, and we need it again. And yeah, we have to keep putting it out, in our own way, however we do it. But I just loved being in relationship with you and Barbara, being in that family. And yeah, it's just, there's a really beautiful connection. I look forward to seeing what you do next in your next iteration.
In my next evolution, yes, exactly. We're going to step into something. We're calling it Spirit Cast, but I haven't said too much about it at this point, but you're absolutely right. But the VirtualLight has been it's been a constant for a lot of people for a lot of years, and we're going to continue putting information out, obviously, and free of charge information. But it's time to move on. Well, awesome, girl. Tell us a little bit of what you're doing now.
Right now, the biggest thing that I'm working with is nervous system regulation, getting some of the stuck energy in our system. I've worked with energy systems, subtle energy for most of my career. Right. And I realized the nervous system piece is a piece that we're actually missing a lot, especially those of us in spiritual communities, because it's the deep down cellular piece that when we unwind that, then our vibration that we're putting out in the world, the resonance, is very clear. And it's a whole different world, and we work into subtle energy in a very different way when our nervous system is truly regulated, has this baseline of ease, calm, contentment. It's very
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I'm working with trauma, so it could sound like it could be really intense. Not everybody has the big T trauma, but we live in a very intense world. And
there's also a lot of little T trauma out there. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And sensitives feel it more deeply. Sensitives, empath, those of us that
exactly
work with the resonance and the subtle energy in that way. Yeah, we're highly impacted. And we're also the ones that can actually have the biggest resonant impact in the world. So if we can really clear our system and our field.
I love it. We have an effect, which is why many of us are here right now. Exactly. Awesome. Chris, thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate it, hon. We had a great time together. Espavo, my dear, good job and keep up the great work. Where can people find you?
I have a website, openingspaces.com, and my email is chris@openingspaces.com. So send me a note.
Awesome. Thanks, hon. Take care.
Take care to you.
Espavo. All right, we'll send you back to the studio, Espavo, everybody. Thanks, Chris. Incredible stuff. Absolutely amazing. We had somebody who, when we first came to Las Vegas, we already had a host here because she had hosted us here a couple times before, but she went on to become a huge part of not only our work in the VirtualLight broadcast, but our lives and the whole organization at the time, Lightworker. I'm talking about Charmaine Lee. Charmaine is a huge part of it. She was a channel herself. She did some incredible work. And she had the Foundation for Insight, which was kind of her organization with her and John and Mark that came together and tried to do things in the community as well. And they kind of got behind the VirtualLight broadcast and really helped to make it happen. So it was really exciting to see that and the work that she did. So anyway, she did a segment every month on the VirtualLight broadcast, and I'm honored to bring her back on. Charmaine Lee.
Hi, everybody. I'm very honored to be bringing you this next interview. This was a very powerful one for us because when Barb and I moved to Las Vegas in 2004, we had a host here already. She had hosted us a couple of times here in Las Vegas, and it was a fascinating time because she really jumped in and helped us get organized, and she had her own organization at the time, and all three of them became kind of we just kind of blended together in the most magical way. I'm talking about Charmaine Lee. On top of everything else, she presented almost every single time we did VirtualLight broadcast. She got up there and she did her own channels. We had more fun with this in time. She had an organization called Foundation for Insight, and her and Mark and John really, like I said, integrated with our whole stuff. So anyway, let me bring her on here. Charmaine, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well.
How is it? Yeah. How is everything? Nice to see you again.
Yeah. Well, we haven't been in touch much, and since Eddie passed away a little while ago, we were there at the funeral. But the reality is, I haven't seen you much, and we used to see each other every single day. In fact, the funny part is, you had an office that your chair was sitting almost exactly where my chair is sitting right now. So I think about you often, and I'm really glad to bring you on. But we had more fun, and of course John was a huge part of the organization too. John passed away a few years ago, a little early for his time, but really did some incredible work for all of us. John was the technical one. He was the one that I could say, John, this is going on, help me fix this, and he'd go back there and figure it out real quick. It was really incredible. So anyway, it was absolutely awesome. You have any stories or anything you want to share with us about what was going on?
Yes, there were so many, and so to recall them, I've been thinking about it for a while now. And when you first came into town, you and Barbara was up on that stage, and I was like, wow, in awe. And I thought, wow, someday I'll be able to work with them. And when I put it out there in the universe, you don't realize that you need to be a little bit more specific.
Yeah, you got to be very specific, don't you?
And so I know I'm moving around a little bit, trying to adjust myself here, but one of the things is that I did not know that Barbara immediately connected with me, and she came up to me, and that's when it began. She asked if I wanted to be part of Lightworker, and that was the amazing ride. It was a fabulous ride. Didn't know that it would open so many, not only the doors, but open so many facets of who I am and what Lightworker was all about.
And for you new people, we used to be called Lightworker. Lightworker was the name of our organization for years, and lightworker.com was our site.
Yes.
Anyway, we changed to Espavo a little later on. But
yes,
and we're reliving all the things that we used to do. We used to go down there I think it was the last Friday of each month. We'd be down there. We'd be setting up. We'd take about 3 hours to set all this stuff up, and then 20 minutes to break down. I'll never forget that. Because we were all hungry. We wanted to go to lunch afterwards. So
that's so true.
Yeah, we had we had all the boxes labeled with all the chords labeled to which box they went in. I mean, it was amazing how we managed to organize that whole thing. And then we'd have pizza night, by setting up and so forth. And you were always there, my dear. You and your team were always there. It was absolutely incredible. And if I haven't thanked you before, I absolutely want to thank you again for all the beautiful love that you brought into this energy and to the work that you gave everybody. It was just very magical, very magical.
Well, thank you. It it was a compliment for us, the three of us with Foundation for Insight at the time, to be able to collaborate. And the fact that each one of them, like Mark and John, they both had their talent. So it
Yeah.
kind of like meshed. We became so like not automatic, but we knew exactly, oh, okay, we need to go here, we need to do this. Whatever it took to set up or break down, it wasn't a challenge. And thank goodness that John knew other technical things to put it all together, because you had the bigger picture, and we knew that we could support it in so many different ways. And the fun part of it was, it was the beginning of a ride when you
Yes.
opened up that door to VirtualLight broadcasts. You opened up many doors and touched many lives, and also supported many, I would say, many people who needed to be seen. And so that was the exciting part of it, is the collaboration and knowing that I was part of a family that encompassed so many souls. And I say souls because you went around the world,
Yes.
and
And-
you went around the world.
Well,
The-
and
the-
you were
the-
the office manager. You and John would stay here and run the place while we were gone all the time. Every 2 weeks, we were basically gone.
Yes. Yes, and that was a joy in itself, because I knew that as you were doing the work, more books would go out, more information, more insight, and more people to be able to do, their readings, and that was so important because everyone was searching at the time, right?
Exactly.
And you were the one that, you and Barbara, made a big difference, impact in Las Vegas, because people would go, when's the next one? When's the next one?
Yeah.
So that it wasn't just the buzzword. It was everyone looking forward to something that they knew that was tangible. Tangible in a sense, like right now, for example, today is all virtual, correct?
Right.
Everything is either AI or, let's get on our phones and do FaceTime. But to be able to have the presence of an essence that was at Lightworker the time that I was there, that was a big difference to Las Vegas. It's the biggest shift that we ever encountered here in this city. It is a missing piece, because there isn't really any more organizations like this, like Worker or Espavo, and some of our major participants who was part of Lightworker. Some of them passed, like Regina Murphy. She was a big light
She was
to
awesome.
this community, right?
Yeah, I remember going up in Mount Charleston and having all that magic happen up there, and the miracles that took place while we were doing the channels. Yes, yeah,
Yes.
we can talk forever about it. Yeah, and what we're also talking about is Charmaine, John, and Mark were part of putting on the seminars that we did locally here too. So we have you were part of all of it, and it was
Yes.
just absolutely amazing, and it all meshed together in just the most wonderful way. So I absolutely want to say thank you for all of your love and the connection and the light that you brought to this city and the world,
Oh.
because we were a global broadcast even back then.
Yes.
Absolutely wonderful.
Yes, and that's what the beauty of it is, the many souls that was touched globally, and it was so much fun too. That's the insight that everyone, I want you to know, is that to be able to know that this was seen globally, and people, oh my gosh, they received the message that, the group, what Steve, everyone who was on the show, was able to deliver, and that was the importance at the time.
It was incredible. It was an incredible experience for all of us. Thank you for being so much a part of it. What are you doing now? How can people find you? Where are you? What's going on?
Well, so many things have shifted, since the passing of my husband, and so right now, the help of my brother Rick Bennett, he has put me on a path to come back into the light, to be able to do more. So I have became recently a doctorate of humanitarian philosophies, and
Awesome.
so I want to continue as far as the metaphysical work that I want to do is to continue to help people to discover, where do they want to go? Who are they?
Right.
And so right now you can only get me through Facebook, because again, I'm starting over basically,
Sh-
and
I know the
getting
feeling.
out there.
And it's Charmaine Lee is the Facebook?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Charmaine,
Yes.
my dear, it was really good to see you. Thank you for being such a part of my life this whole time. Barbara was right over my shoulder, I'm sure, the whole thing talking about it. So, Espavo, my dear, thank you for being a part of all of our lives. You've really touched a lot of people. And
Well, thank you.
my
Thank you
heart goes out
for
to you.
letting me be part of this.
Absolutely. Wouldn't have happened without you. So great.
Ah, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, I'll
It's
return.
Bravo.
Espavo, I'll return you all to the studio now. Thank you for being a part of us today. Espavo.
Thanks, Charmaine. Incredible stuff, isn't it? Okay, I'll keep the introduction short. Dear friend of mine, you've probably all seen her from time to time. Sandra Sedgbeer has done an incredible work with being a part of our organization from the very beginning. We actually had a seminar in Laguna Hills, California, and I forgot what year it was, but all of our original board members came from that first seminar, even though we didn't establish the board until later. But we had a very intimate group, probably only about 30 people, maybe at the most. It was a very intimate group. We had a 2-day seminar, and we just bonded with some incredible people at that time. We met a lot of wonderful people. One of them was Sandy Sedgbeer. Proud to bring you now.
And next, I am very pleased to bring you a very dear friend and a friend of the show's for many, many years. Sandy Sedgbeer has done so many wonderful interviews. She started doing these interviews with people, and it just kept building and building and building. I don't even know how many we did, but Sandy's here to tell us, kind of catch us up to date a little bit. Welcome, Sandy.
Hi, Steve. Good to be here.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about these last, how many years is it? 20?
It's been, for the VirtualLight broadcast, has now been 25 years, but we started it originally when we were living in Poway, and we started it as a audio. And then the very first one we did here, and it's been a little over 20 years for the video ones, so it's been
I
amazing.
can remember the very early days when you and I used to talk about, well, wouldn't it be great if you could do these things on the internet? And, well, it wasn't possible then.
That's right.
But it did soon become possible, and yeah, it was great. It really was so much fun.
It was amazing, and
Such an innocent time on the internet back then.
it was really strange because we were using American Online. They charged by the minute. It was very, very expensive to do many of the things we were doing, and we started anyway. We just basically started doing it, and then we figured out ways of kind of going around things and just using the internet. But it was really exciting, and then of course we did for years. We did it in different places. I always rented a hotel room. We did it in people's homes a couple times. We did it in Janelle's home 2 or 3 times, I think. And then we did it in the La Quinta for I don't know how many years, but it was
Many.
just wonderful. We
Yes.
have such good memories about all that stuff. I'm so grateful to be doing it and all the incredible things you do. And recently, about a year ago, I guess, I sent you a hard drive with all of your interviews on it. I was
did.
absolutely amazed at what was there and all the big names and the fun things that we did. We had a real great time during this, didn't
I'm
we?
keeping that for posterity.
Yeah, good. It's
Yeah,
amazing stuff.
Amazing to look back.
Yeah, it really is. And we had a lot of fun with all of it and being able to bring people in from different parts of the world, and be able to broadcast it all over the place. That was a lot of fun. Absolutely.
Isn't
So
it amazing when you think about it? Because, I mean, you started Planet Lightworker, which was probably the first online spiritual magazine.
right.
And it was just an idea, and then it becomes a reality, and then it becomes something that is so popular everywhere. Then the show was just an idea,
Right.
and you did it, and suddenly it becomes something else entirely. And that was a forerunner too, wasn't it?
Yes, it really was. And Planet Lightworker was also a print magazine for a while. I remember that you started out with the whole thing, and then we brought it online and started to do all the other. You did a lot of things with that afterwards. Absolutely amazing stuff. Amazing history that we planted a lot of seeds in different places. It was a lot of fun. Absolutely. So
Sometimes we need these trips down memory lane to remind us of what we have planted.
we absolutely do. We absolutely do. So tell me what you're doing now. I know what you're doing, but tell everybody where you're at. You are incredibly busy. I mean, I talk to Carol a lot, who does some of your social media, and she says, "Oh, I'm just so busy with all the stuff that you're doing." So tell me about what you're doing, because you have a couple radio shows, and
I have 3 shows.
three.
Now. 3 shows. They're all live streaming video shows. One is What Is Going On, which is the flagship radio show for On Times Network. One is the No BS Spiritual Book Club, and the other one is it's a different kind of show. We record it in a 2-hour block, and then we divide it up into 2 1-hour episodes and screen them every 2 weeks. And that is called Conversations Beyond the Cutting Edge. Beyond the Cutting Edge. No, At the Cutting Edge. That's right. I used to do a show called Conversations Beyond the Cutting Edge, but I realised a few months ago that we're way beyond that now. And so this particular show is something where I bring 2 people together whose work kind of crosses over, but not totally by any means, and have a conversation with them, so that we get to know what each one has to say about a particular subject, and then they get to learn what the other person, is saying that they don't
Incredible.
know. So that's a really lively conversation, and that's been great. I mean, I had Pam Gregory, the astrologist. She kicked it off, and I paired her with Jude Caravan, who is a cosmologist, and also but she's an astrologer too, but her main work is cosmology. And so we could talk about the planets, from both people's perspectives.
Wow.
And how, the similarities between what they're both finding. That's the whole point of it, is to show people that, this person isn't kind of out on the edge on their own. There are other people who are coming to the same realizations, but from a different starting point.
Well, that's the beauty of all the things that you did, and we also had all these segments on the Virtual Light broadcast that we did after that. I was just amazed, because we'd have Allison who'd send in a segment, Meg would send in a segment, you would send in a segment, and occasionally other people, and they all blended. You could tell that it was just orchestrated by the group, or by whoever was organizing this, because it certainly wasn't us. We didn't know what everybody was going to talk about, but absolutely amazing. And we all come to the same truth through different channels.
Exactly.
Absolutely amazing. So how do people find you? How do they find your 3 well, they
shows? Can go to YouTube, and it's youtube.com, and then it's Sandy Sedgebeer, or Sandy Sedgebeer Streams, and they will find me. My shows are broadcast live through YouTube as well. And that's it. They can also go to sedgebeer.com, my website, and they'll find how to find me there. But there is one thing that I need to share with you, and I want people to, because this is hot off the press. This is something I've never done before, and I know that you have been telling me for years that I should be doing this, but I am launching my first course, and it's a writing course with an absolute difference. It's not going to be about structure, about grammar, about punctuation, etc. It's going to be about how you find your authentic inner voice, and help people bring that voice out and begin to express what is within them, whether they want to write, and even if they don't want to write, and they want to speak or present, or find that their voice isn't very strong and they don't stand up for themselves, much. This is something that takes them completely inside, and we use writing exercises for them to bring all of that out.
Magical. And this is going to be through, and they can find this through sedgebeer.com?
I will put it up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still working on all of the descriptions and the classes. It's a 9-week, 90 minutes every week. We gather together, and I'm doing it in small groups of no more than 12 people.
Oh,
because
excellent.
it's important that you create a little community, and that energy is really important too.
Well, and we talked about all your interviews, but and many people know you from the VirtualLight broadcast, but for those of you who don't know her, she's an incredible editor. She's done a lot of editing, some big name magazines that we can talk about. There's all kinds of things that you've done in the past. And of course, you edited my first 3 or 4 books.
The first 3, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Just very magical time. Very magical time. Because I was certainly not a writer. Sandy, I barely made it through high school. I was so bored in high school. If you would have told me that I'd write 8 books, I would have laughed at you. And here I am, and you were the reason. You absolutely were the reason that we got going with Remember. I'll never forget sitting in my office. I had an office that was 8 foot by 8 foot. It looked like a cockpit of a jetliner, because there was technology pretty much everywhere. And we'd sit back there, and sometimes we'd get in arguments. And Barbara would come in with tea and go, "Okay, time to break it up," and just absolutely magical.
But you know what, Steve? Everybody can write.
I know.
That's the thing people don't believe. Everybody can write, and everybody can speak.
And everybody can channel. That's exactly our message. That is exactly the thing. Yeah, but even though we channel, putting it into words that other people can understand, because writing is totally different than speaking. I have to do this with the beacons of light that goes out every month. We actually have it edited so that it makes more sense to people that are reading it instead of just listening to it. But you do an awesome job, my dear. You've left an incredible trail of light on this planet, and thank you for doing all the work that you're doing.
I have to say thank you to you, because, you and Barbara and Carol were amongst the first people I met when I landed in America, and I knew nobody, and I had no idea why I was there. You showed me why I was there, because if you hadn't given me Planet Lightworker, I wouldn't have dived into the spiritual arena as deeply and as publicly as I did, and everything else that followed on from that. So thank you, Steve.
Absolutely magical. We used to meet
I'm one of your seeds.
We used to meet at a coffee shop by the name of Lestat's, and we in San Diego, and we would it's still there, by the way, and we used to come together, and that was kind of our meeting place in the very beginning. It was absolutely magical. Well, excellent. Well, thank you for being a part of this for 25 years, my dear. It's been incredible. We've touched a lot of people throughout the world, and thank you for your part in it, Sandy.
Oh, you're so welcome. Good luck, and here's to the next 25 years.
There we go. Whole new energy here. With that, I'll leave you for now. We'll take you back to the studio. Thank you, Sandy Sedgebeer. Espavo.
Yeah, you put me on this path.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here today. I've been showing you different segments with people that have presented. They've been in front of the camera, but every month we had to produce a show that required a whole lot of backstage people, the people that ran the cameras, the people that help us set up every month. And Rick and Janae are here to help us with it. They have been here not quite from the beginning, but a huge part of it over the years. And I wanted to share some stories with them to kind of bring you up to date a little bit about some of the behind the scenes things. We even did a seminar in, where was it, Scottsdale, Arizona, where we had 3 cameras going with Jim Self, and then we did another one with with Jeff Hoppy and Linda Bino, and we had a ball with those things, because We actually broadcast them live from on location with all of our equipment. Took all of our equipment out there. Absolutely amazing stuff. So anyway, I wanted to kind of relive just a moment of that. Barb and I came to Las Vegas in 2004. We rented a room in the Tropicana. We sent it out to our mailing list that we would be there, expressing an idea that we wanted to try. And we talked about the VirtualLight broadcast. Now this was after we had already produced the first video one, but we wanted to kind of bring the local groups around us here, and we did. It was incredible. Most of the time we had 30 to, I think our largest groups were about 55 or 60 people in the hotel, and that's about all we would hold actually. And of course, just incredible times of this. But it also meant that the night before we had to pack the trailer. We had a special trailer with everything in it that had to go down to wherever we were going. And Rick was one that always came up to the house, even though it was a long drive. He'd come up to the house the night before and help me pack the trailer and help me get all the equipment together and so forth. It was just absolutely incredible, guys. We had an absolute ball.
A lot of fun.
We touched a lot of people.
We
with
worked. We worked hard, but
yeah, we did. Well, I remember it took us when we got to La Quinta, which is where we did many of our broadcasts. I think we were there for like 7 years. We were in other places 3 and 4 years. I know we were in. We can't remember her name, but her last name was Ali, and we were there for 3 years doing the broadcast. So we've done the broadcast in many different places. We've even done them as you know from Janelle. From Janelle's interview, we actually did it out of her home a couple times. Yeah, when we had problems with the places we were doing. So these are people that came up and did it. We laid out all this equipment. We had 3 camera shoots, and we had everything just perfect. It took us about 3 to 3.5 hours to set up, and it took us 20 minutes to break down and put everything away. We had all the boxes were labeled. We know actually where everything came.
But we had incentive. You were taking us out to eat.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah, nobody could eat until we put everything away and packed the trailer back again. But we had an absolute ball doing that. I think we were there at La Quinta for 7 years, if I remember right, and until we finally stopped and brought it here on in video only and stopped having the audience. But boy, we had a ball with that.
And we had real hugs.
Yeah, we were there all the time. We'd have pizza at night after setting up.
Yeah.
We'd bring pizza in, and then we'd all go out to lunch afterwards. And God, that was great.
Yeah,
that was great.
It was really amazing how fast we did tear it down, but how long it took us to put it all together.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was fun.
But we were family.
Yeah.
Well, that was
about
it.
The Soul family.
That was it.
We were family, and we felt that.
That was it. It was really about. Oh, good. We get to go do the VirtualLight broadcast. You would think it would be exhausting to do all that stuff, but it was. Afterwards, I was so high I couldn't.
The energy was just.
The energy
phenomenal.
was so high. We had to go out to lunch together and laugh and throw food and everything else.
I was going to say, don't forget about the food fights.
We had some really good food fights at a restaurant right across the street.
Oh, wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, we have some people we want to mention here. I'm going to have to put my glasses on to do this. We're just going to use first names. Because we haven't been in touch with many of these people. Obviously, people have moved on and so forth. But besides Rick and Janae, we had Jane that was there. We had Anna that was there. We had Richard that was there. Of course, Charmaine, who you're hearing from too, because she did part in front of the camera. But we also had, Charmaine had a kind of her own group of people that was kind of blending and standing behind us. And that was Charmaine, John, and Mark. Mm-hmm. And John became the technical wizard for years and years after that. He was the one that could, if we had a technical problem, I could say, John, figure this out. He'd jump right in and figure something out.
He was quick.
Yeah, something that I had built wrong or something. It was amazing stuff. So anyway, and John has passed since. We've had Sonny and Ishtaluma. Sonny had this incredible announcer's voice, and he'd always say, I forgot exactly his words, but he would announce the VirtualLight broadcast live from Las Vegas.
You could tell it was him. Yeah,
it was absolutely great. And then we had Austin, our son Austin, became a part of it for a while. And then we had Tony Stubbs, who's since passed, who was, I actually read one of Tony's books when I was first awakening. That was absolutely
Really?
amazing. Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely amazing. He had his own stuff. And then we had Michael and Lynn. Michael he's passed, and Lynn has returned to Israel. But I will tell you, Michael was a huge part of us getting the sound right. He was our sound technician, and he would be running all these recorders in different places in the room and mixing things up. And I want to tell you also, we had 3 cameras, but we had one person who was responsible for saying, all right, camera 1, and we had headphones and everything else, and she'd be in the back of the room. This was Charmaine. Charmaine actually ran all the cameras and everything, and she would say, camera 2, move to the right, or get this shot, and they'd zoom in, and you get it was just like a fun little studio that we were having. We had an absolute ball.
We miss it.
Yeah,
we
I
do
know.
miss it.
We all missed it. We all missed it being in person. Maybe someday we'll return to doing something like that. But in the meantime, things have changed. We're moving on in a little different direction. But we wanted to bring them on and just kind of relive some of the memories of the fun that we had and the absolute wonderful family connections that we had as we did the VirtualLight broadcast.
I want to mention that Michael had an incredible personality and was funny. He was just funny. He was a real joy to be around, and if anybody was down, they weren't down very long when
That's
they were
true.
around Michael.
Yeah, that's true. Michael could always turn things around, and Lynn would always keep Michael in order.
In order.
Yeah.
That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we miss everybody. If we haven't mentioned you, please excuse us because we're the memory fades over time. But we actually did it in so many different places in so many different ways, and people would come in and out to kind of lend their expertise and the joy of bringing this together. But the VirtualLight broadcast ran 25 years. It started in audio only in Poway before we moved here. And then in 2004, we began the video broadcast. And as you may have heard from Janelle, we actually did it in our temporary apartment for the first time, and Janelle was there.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
she was
pretty
actually
awesome.
she was actually there for the first VirtualLight broadcast. I was a nervous wreck, wondering if it was actually going to go out, if it was actually going to work, or anything of that nature. But it was awesome. Anyway, we wanted to just bring back some of the wonderful memories and show you some of the people, just a couple of the people of many that were behind the scenes that really helped us come together and change the world. Thanks for being a part of it, everybody. Espavo. Hi, everybody. I'm very honored to bring you today a very dear friend of ours who's been on the VirtualLight broadcast for almost 10 years now. This is Allison Chester Lambert. She's the BBC astrologer that you've seen on air so many times, and for almost 10 years she brought us her astrology views into the future, showing us the next month and so forth. So Allison, welcome back, hon. Welcome back to the VirtualLight.
Oh, this is so exciting, isn't it? I mean, nobody would have thought 10 years. That's ridiculous.
I know. I never would have dreamed that we've been doing it for 25 years. It's
Can't believe it.
It's like,
Can't
where did
believe
that
it.
time go? I don't know. We sure had a ball with it, though. It was
And
fun.
there's you looking younger, and me looking older.
We'll work at it slowly. How's that? So anyway, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing, because you've written a book. You've got a whole bunch of things that are unfolding for you. So fill us in. Tell us what's going on.
So I've written my 5th book, and so the easy way to learn astrology. Now there was a reason for writing this one, Steve. Very dear to my heart, this book, because I've always said that astrology should be taught in schools. This should be a subject which is freely given to everybody, so that everybody can get that self-help, personal understanding, relationships working out better, etc. So when the publisher offered me an opportunity to write a really cheap book, it's only £13. I don't know what that is in dollars, but it's really cheap. You can get it on Amazon. And what I did was I have started up a Facebook page, exactly the same, The Easy Way to Learn Astrology. So you can buy the book. Everything's free after that. I've coupled up with, gone into partnership with Astro.com, Karen Hoffman is a great friend of mine, the editor there. And they are providing free horoscopes. You can punch everything in and run off your charts with this book to support them. So you can got your chart and you can use the book. So Facebook page for that. But also what I've been doing is a YouTube channel, the same YouTube channel, Alice and Chester Lambert. But I'm now doing more daily stuff, and I'm doing tuition, prediction, charts, explaining the charts to everybody, how they work. There's a really fabulous community on the YouTube channel. They're very kind of warm and all chat to each other and stuff. So people can still get my work. I'm still out there, YouTube, and a fifth book. I never thought I'd write the first one.
Congratulations! That's your how-to book, isn't it? That really shows people how to do this, how to read.
Yeah, and pretty much for free. The package is not going to cost them anything. So I'm really thrilled that we've been able to get this one out.
Oh, good. Well, it's good to see you, sweetheart. You like I said, you've been part of the family for so long. It's just been amazing, and our people missed you when you left, obviously. But I know we're going on to larger things. That's why we're ending the VirtualLight broadcast. We're basically moving on to some new things, and we're doing things at YouTube too. So I'll see you there.
Absolutely. Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely. Yes, we'll have to do a joint thing on YouTube.
I think that sounds like fun. We'll set that up. All right, my dear. Sounds good. Well, thank you for being here with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. Alice and Chester Lambert, everybody.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll return you back to the studio now. Espavo.
More possibilities all the time. It's amazing. And the final person we have for today is a person who's been on the broadcast probably close to half the time that it was actually on. Meg was a very big part of our organization for a long time, really kind of spearheaded everything. And although she came in and says, I want to work with you guys, but I don't want to do anything technical, she ended up being really technical. It was awesome. Anyway, she's moved into her own work, an incredible hypnotherapist, and doing quite a bit. She's done the VirtualLight broadcast for quite some time now. We're not quite exactly sure how many years. I think it's like 10 or 11 years that she's done the VirtualLight broadcast, and just absolutely gave her part to the world in a very beautiful way. So with that, I'll bring the final person in today, which is Meg Adamson.
Well, hello, Steve. Congratulations on 25 years of the VirtualLight broadcast. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, thank you doesn't even cover it. 25 years of commitment, of delivery, of connection. I remember, now you and Barbara were well established by that point, but I remember when I first found you, when I first was introduced to you and your work, you were doing a broadcast and it was on a Saturday and it was from your home in San Diego. And I remember you were just about to cut to break or something like that. And Barbara got up and walked across the camera, not realizing she was walking in front of the camera, and she was in a pair of cut off jean shorts. And I thought, now who is this sexy thing? Who's out here? Who are these Californians that are doing this broadcast on a Saturday from their home in San Diego? And then I heard the message and the information and the warmth that it was delivered with. And it was just so beautiful. There was just such beauty in your work. And I remember being so nervous eventually years later when I started organizing events for you and getting to know you both so well, and then starting to do a segment on the show. And I remember being so nervous coming on the show and doing a segment. And, you know, Steve, I can't ever thank you enough for all of your encouragement. You have changed a lot of lives over 25 years, and I really hope you know that and you take that in and you really receive that, because it sounds like you've changed a lot of lives over 25 years, but you have changed a lot of lives over 25 years. You have reached multiple continents and countries. You have connected people together and stitched hearts of the world together, which I know has always been part of your dream. So congratulations. This is a legacy, the Virtual Light broadcast, that will never be forgotten. Humans who felt like they met other like-minded beings. That's what you created, where they belonged. Your vision provided so many people with comfort and care and nurturing, along with so much wisdom and knowledge and a really healthy side dish of entertainment. And I think that's what made it uniquely yours, and that's what really delivered it home with people, because you've always been approachable and people have always felt that they had access to you and to Barbara. Thank you for all of the years, 25 incredible years of delivering content to people all over the world. Thank you for all the learning, for the experience, for all the fun that went along with it for me. It has been such a privilege for me, one that I have never taken for granted in all this time. I can honestly, truly say that. I've never taken this for granted in all this time. This platform, this exposure. You have been a gracious host and a wonderful human doing a lot of selfless work. So here's to you on this 25th anniversary. What a legacy to lay down as you walk in new directions. So the Irish, we never say goodbye. We say slán, which in translation means safety on your journey. Sort of like fare thee well. So Steve, slán, thank you for all of these wonderful years. Thank you.
Oh, sure, you're going to throw it back to me. Sorry, I wasn't expecting that. Thank you, Meg. I'm going to bring in the group in just a moment, clear my nostrils a little bit, and bring in the group for the final message today. Espavo. Greetings, dear ones. We bring you this day such joy, for you have moved in incredible directions, and we wish to celebrate that with you this day, to share with you some of the beautiful energies that you have created. And with that, we're staying with the What Is series. Today we're going to talk about what is perfection. It's interesting. Every human is reaching toward perfection in some way, are you not? And it's not right or wrong, dear ones. It's simply an observation. Why?
what is all this about? Is the perfection going to bring you something? Well, the perfection is what you are when you are home. It's very simple and yet difficult to grasp sometimes. But the reality is you're a perfect being when you're home. When you come to pretend to be a human, you have to pass through this veil. And the veil is the place where you leave your memory from previous lifetimes. The veil is the place where you pick up your ego again. The veil is the place where you disconnect from all the connections that you normally have with everything everywhere. And you become imperfect. You divide into 11 different dimensions, 11 different experiences, each one carrying a little bit of your perfection in certain areas and not others. It allows the spirit to have a full experience in multiple refractions, which is actually the nature of the universe anyway. Even your scientists and particularly your astrophysicists are finding this out. The more that you reach into space, the more that you understand about your own nature, as well as the quantum journey, opening doors in huge ways. Well, what is the reach for perfection? Is it all that you wish to go home? Well, in a way, that's true. But you also got this beautiful aspect of life in front of you. This now moment belongs to you, no one else. And you have, in this now moment, you have everything that you could possibly need. It's very simple. You're working in huge ways right now. If you understand the safety and the joy that you have right in front of you to step into and enjoy and to live in that joy, it's a little different. You're not accustomed to it in the third dimension. But here you are, making those connections right now. So what of this imperfection? Well, it provides many places, dear ones. You have the light. You all know what the light is. Now, the moment we say the light, you also say, well, we also have the dark, trying to balance it out in some ways. But the reality is there is only light. The darkness is an illusion created by the lack of light, but it's not as real as the light. Now, you have this in many aspects, dear ones. Look at the light again from a different perspective. Here's the way we see it. You come down here as a beautiful white light. You hit this crystal, and you divide off into these other rays. And you've got, over here, you've got your reds. Over here, you've got your yellows, your violets. All the incredible colors of the rainbow from that pure white light. But it's actually the imperfection that gives them beauty. That's the beautiful part. On your side of the veil, beauty is held by imperfection. So why are you always reaching? Does that mean that the beautiful red is trying to always be white? Well, in a way, that's kind of your nature, to return home, to create the energy of home here on this, as you're stepping through this life right now. And you can look at it another way. You could simply say that the white light is the perfection light, or the perfection in many areas, containing everything. And when it hits that crystal, it divides off into individual rays, or perhaps the perfect imperfection, or the imperfect perfection, either one. But the reality is, it's that beauty of splitting it off into something else and seeing it from a different angle in a different way that gives it beauty. And that's what the search is about. So your search for perfection goes in many different ways. Similarly to that, what about your emotions? Well, we just described the way that light works. Let's apply that to the way that emotions work. From the way that we see your emotional structures, again, there's only one emotion, and that's love. Everything opposite of that is created from the lack of love. So you're back to the same equation. The white light is still there. It is the only thing that's there.
When you divide it off into different rays, you have all these beautiful colors that you can enjoy in different ways. How does that work with your emotions? Well, it's very simple. You have positive emotions, you have love emotions, and you have negative emotions. They're all beautiful, perfect imperfections of the same ray of light. You're constantly reaching for perfection. You're constantly reaching to improve your next go-around. You're in this beautiful spiral time that's moving faster all the time. You've stepped into the higher vibration of the fifth dimension. You're still figuring a lot of it out. You're still trying to anchor much of it to where you don't have to deal with a lot of the third dimensional realities that you see in front of you. Well, we tell you that is exactly what's happening. You can step up. It doesn't mean that the third dimensional challenges don't go away. What it means is that they're not as important as they once thought. That your focus as a creator being creates your world around you, and any time that you are unhappy with where you are at, it means primarily that you're attached to something in the future. What if the future didn't really exist? What if all you had was this now moment? Take a breath, dear ones. You are the perfect imperfection of light. And we see you constantly trying to perfect yourself in some ways, trying to remember home, trying to remember the connections and all the energies that you had when you were perfect. And yet, we also see the struggles and the way that you must balance your whole perception of yourself. And that can be very challenging at times. And all we ask you to do, dear ones, is to not be perfect, but to be the most beautiful imperfection of light that you can be. If you're red, be red. If you're blue, bring it on. Play it out. You've been dealt with these beautiful, perfect imperfections, and we call them beautiful for a reason. You have planted beauty in many places throughout your planet. You're on a search for beauty. It's one of your higher aspects as pretending to be a human. Your spirit is looking for anchors of home, to be able to remember certain things. And sometimes when it looks at a perfect imperfection, a color, an emotion, it doesn't judge it as right or wrong. It doesn't judge it as good or bad, or black or white, or love or fear. It only expresses an emotion. Take it for what it is. It's a human experience, which is exactly what you came here to do. Now, is anyone in judgment of you? You are. Yes. You tend to judge yourself often. It's not really needed, but it's part of your perfection reach. It's part of what you are trying to accomplish on a long-term basis, to create the energy from home. But there's only love. It's difficult to understand. Being raised in a third dimensional reality, you have a lot of duality, imprints that were necessary for that dimension. But it also makes you see things in different ways. Take a breath. Let this come to you in many ways. For you are holding the imprints and the blueprints of a new stage of life, dear ones. No one on your planet has ever stepped up the way that you are stepping up. There's a new energy here. It's felt. Normally takes thousands of years to move. Not today. You're jumping into it early. You're anchoring the fifth dimensional realities. You're wanting more. You're reaching further. Well done, dear ones. Well done. That is the reach for perfection.
Is it an accomplishment? Is it possible to have perfection on your planet? No, it's not. That's part of the things you had to leave in the veil. You had to divide up into these beautiful rays of light. Be the brightest red that you can be. And enjoy the journey. You are infinite beings, which is difficult to comprehend. But you played this game many times. Now, this remainder of your time on this planet, you will have things come to you, even from previous lifetimes that you've learned. Your spirit is in more communication with you than ever before, partly because you're stepping into this higher vibration. It's more of your work than ours. That opens the door. You are grand beings of light, dear ones. We love you more than we can possibly say, and we're very proud of what you are doing on this planet. Very dense planet. Sometimes holding a light can be dangerous in some ways. Hold it dear. Know that you are well protected always. Know that you are beings of light. For there is no darkness. It's an illusion. There is only light. Espavo, dear ones, it's with the greatest of honor we ask you to treat each other with respect. Nurture one another at every opportunity and play well together as you create this brand new game. As you work together with the light. And love each other. I am Zandria. Carry the smile well. It will bring you home. Espavo, thank you for taking your power. With that, we are complete.
Hi, everybody. I'd like to explain a little bit of what we're going to be doing with generational trauma and what this is. The actual seminar is starting a whole different kind of direction as we move into the Light Master series of 2500. We're working with fifth dimensional tools primarily, and this is one of them. What we're going to be working with here is called the universal energy, which is why I have this beautiful illustration behind me. Basically, it's just a flow of energy that we don't know anything about. It makes up 68% of our universe according to our own sciences, and yet we know nothing really about it because it doesn't really sort of exist in our reality, but it has a huge effect on us. One of the ways that we do this is that we have, when we look through the universal energy, it's been called different things. It's been called the Akasha, it's been called the Akashic Records, of course. All these different aspects of things are how you can look into this. The group says all readings are actually done through this universal energy. We talked a lot about that in Lightmaster. We're now going to be bringing it to an open session with people where you can come for 2 sessions. And we're going to be focusing this on generational trauma. Generational trauma is when you're dealing with the aspects of having a trauma, but you don't actually have the trauma in your history. And what are the aspects? They can be anything from anxiety to fear to depression to a whole list of challenges that you can basically resolve as acting out this reaction to trauma in some way. What the group says about it is that you probably picked up a contract to do that, to resolve a trauma in the past that was not grounded properly. Sometimes people died, sometimes people pick it up and you came into this family line and actually took it on as a contract. You can also change the contract. We're going to share with you how. We're going to share with you how to resolve it and send it back to where it began for resolution there. There's some fascinating things we're going to get into. I have to tell you, for the first time in my life, I'm going to be trying to explain the concept of no time, and that's all part of the universal energy. So anyway, we'll get more into it as we get there. But the whole idea of the universal energy is how things function in the fifth dimension and how we interact with the rest of the universe around us. And we'll be focusing a lot on those tools. One of those areas, of course, is generational trauma, because without the universal energy the way it is and the way it works, generational trauma would not be possible. So we're going to explain how that works. We're going to explain what to do if you think you have it. We're going to give you lots of opportunities to work with it here in class, even though we're only going to be together for 2 days. Going to be 2 wild days. Enjoy the time, and we hope to see you there. Espavo, everyone. Hi, everyone. Mark your calendars, February 1st, 2025 at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We'll be doing the first Spirit Cast. It'll be done in YouTube. We'll be doing it in YouTube Live. And you can find out more information about that, where that is, at Espavo TV on YouTube. It's the best way to look it up, is to find it there. And you can send your questions in ahead of time if you'd like to questions@espavo.org. That way you can kind of get preference on your questions coming in, although we will try to take as many as we can from the chat room as well. It's part of the reason we want to do this live and bring everybody together as much as possible. So come join us. Be there on Saturday, February 1st. It's all free. The group will be in channel this time, answering questions in channel. And we'll see what they say afterwards. Last time they did a channel afterwards and gave a message. I don't know if they'll do that this time or not. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. Anyway, Espavo, everybody. Hope you come join us. 11 a.m. Pacific time, February 1st, Saturday, YouTube at Espavo TV. See you there.